I'm Maddie Capps. I'm the husband of the wife of Bob. We're the mother of 3 children. I am the mother of 3 children. Bobby Sue, Patsy, and Sam. And we have 8 grandchildren, ranging in age from 28 to 17. And I can't tell you the ages of each one of them because I can't keep them straight.
I'm Bob Capps. The real name is Samuel Robert Capps Sr. And believe it or not, my grandmother and granddaddy Capps was Bob and Maddie Capps, and she was a nurse also. A friend of mine had a date and was going to see his brother in Cherryville on July the 12th, 1951. And the net is, warm. Nobody had air anyway. It didn't need air then, that time of year. So somebody was playing the piano next door, and his sister-in-law said, "Bob, why don't you go next door and meet that lady, that girl? She's about your age." I said, "Well, I can't just knock on the door and say, 'I'm Bob Capps, what's yours?'" She said, "If I call her, would you talk to her?" I said, "Sure, sure." So you hear the phone ring and the piano quit playing, and she got her on the phone, and I talked to her. We talked to her in 15 minutes. Anyway, I got a phone number, and in the meantime, we had a date for 26th, which is 2 weeks later, and I joined the Navy in the meantime because I had a draft notice, and I didn't want to be going into the Army. I just didn't want anything to do with it, so I joined the Navy. So we had a date on June the 26th in 1951, and we rode around and had a good visit. And the next day, I left for the Navy. It was gone 4 years, but I came home in July 1953, and I was going to surprise her, man. We'd been writing all the time, and she was in nurse training then, so she went with a.
No, I wasn't. I was at school.
If what?
That's before I went nurses training. I was at Appalachian.
Yeah. Anyway, she went to Norfolk with a friend to see friend to see her uncle. So July 25th, 1953, we dated, and on the radio came President Eisenhower just signed a peace treaty with Korea, and that was a good thing. Anyway, we got out. 1 year later, we got married, 1956.
I was at Appalachian, went there for 1 year, and then left and went to Presbyterian Hospital School of Nursing in Charlotte for 3 years. Graduated and went to work in Charlotte. And somehow along the way, this fella came along, and we kind of fell in love and got married, and I never left Charlotte. Been here ever since. Will be 57 years in July.
July the 28th.
July the 28th.
And we've been living out here
years.
41 years. This
41
May.
years in May.
Bobby's birthday, 21st of May.
And this is Capps Road.
That's right.
Yeah. I grew up down there at the end, and at that time there was only one other house. It was halfway up, and now there's 9 houses on this road, and the road was named after our family, Capps Road.
Right.
Yeah.
There was only Pop's grandmother, his mother and daddy lived at the end of the road down here when we moved in. The little house next door to us was here, and then one across the street was here. And there was
Kept building.
there's a little house on the left going up the road that was here, and that's all that was out here. We were in the boonies, and our girls thought their world had come to an end. They didn't know about lights and water or cars or anything out here, and they were not happy campers.
What were they, 12 and 14 or something like that?
Something like that. Mm-hmm.
with Pop? We want to hear your side of the
A
story.
Sunday afternoon.
Oh, it was on a Sunday afternoon, and it was hot as thunderation. And if there was anything you didn't want to do, was to dress for a date that day. And that was before the days when you wore shorts and t-shirts and flip-flops. And I didn't want to dress and comb my hair and put on a dress and go out. But I wasn't going to have that boy seeing me looking the way I did at home. So I got dressed and we went.
Rode around,
Rode
went to
around.
school out there where you did it. That's where we made pictures,
we
didn't we?
rode, yeah, we rode around and talked and got acquainted with each other and had a good time. But it was summertime.
We got a picture of that first date, sitting on a steps or something at
yeah,
the
but
school.
don't tell us you won't look at it because I don't know where it is.
It's in there somewhere.
It's in this house.
Yeah.
No, not then. I didn't. And he left, and I didn't see him forever. But we wrote and we chatted and whatnot. And after a while, I decided, well, you know, he's not bad after all. Decided he might be a keeper. Didn't know for sure.
I knew she was a winner the day I met her.
But it's been a good life. We have 3. We have 2 girls and a boy. And we were living, when we first got married, we were living in a duplex in town. And this little lady that we were living next door to, she lived on the other side of the duplex. And she just came over one day and she said, I don't even like for children to walk up and down the street in front of my house. And I'm not going to have you living here with children. She knew I was pregnant. So we said, okay. We didn't have a stick of furniture. We didn't have anything but each other and our clothes. And we started looking for a place and found an apartment out near the airport.
Nice apartment, wasn't it?
Yeah. And they had a stove and a refrigerator furnished, and we went out and bought living room and bedroom,
Dining room.
kitchenette furniture. Yeah. And that's all we had. And we had a little girl. Her name was Bobby Sue. And she doesn't like for me to call her Bobby Sue to this day, but I will because that's her name. And then, in not too long after that, I got pregnant again somehow. And we had another little girl. Before this little girl was born, this was, what, 17 months later?
Yeah.
We bought a house in town on Valley Stream
That was
Road.
out of town.
On Valley Stream Road, near Park Road Shopping Center. And this little girl came along. She was a cutie pie. No, she wasn't. Bobby Sue was a cutie pie. Patsy was, bless her heart, she was pitiful.
The first day picture, you know.
Well, you know, when they take the pictures and the babies are newborns and whatnot, she was not a pretty baby. But we were proud of her anyway because she was healthy and she was ours and she was special. So we took her home and we moved in our new house that we had just bought. She was 10 days old.
Had to wait.
Don't ever do that.
Had to wait to get a few days old before we moved.
Yeah. Don't ever do that. That was hard work. And a new baby, I wasn't feeling the greatest in the world anyway. But then they grew up. We had some good times on Valley Stream. Pop had rabbits in the backyard. And they used to play with them like baby dolls. Patsy would bring them in the house and she'd dress them up like baby dolls.
Make clothes for them.
And every once in a while those rabbits would disappear. We didn't ever know what happened to them. But we thought maybe the dog might have gotten them or something, you know. And then one day they caught me cooking. And I told them I was frying chicken. Don't lie to your children ever. It doesn't work. They were a little upset with me because it wasn't chicken I was cooking, it was rabbits. And that was good, but they didn't appreciate it, and they had been loving those rabbits, and here they were eating those rabbits, and that wasn't what you're supposed to do with them. But after a while they forgave me. Well, Sam came along. He was a pretty little boy. He looked like he was full grown when he was born, because he was about 24 inches long, and he was about, what was he,
9 pounds something?
9'14" or something. He was huge. He looked like a 3-month-old baby laying up there in that newborn nursery. And then he started learning how to do things. And Sam was a sweetheart. He still is a sweetheart. But he was a challenge.
He'll test you.
You tell him no. He never learned that no meant don't do something. And Mama never learned that no meant go ahead and do it. And we had some confrontations, a lot of them. But he turned out okay. Has 2 nice little girls now, big girls now. And we're all proud of them. I had 8 grandchildren, and we're proud of every one of them because they're all special. But different, you never know they're related.
I retired 1998, and in May. And Maddie retired a year later, and she's a lot younger than me, you know, a year and 3 months. Anyway, we've had a wonderful time, retirement, and up until, I mean, we always had a nice time. You know, we just like to do things we can do and enjoy, and that's what we do, because we got to go while we can. The older you get, the less you want to go, unless you're able to go, really. So we don't overdo it, but we try to do what we feel like we like to do. And that's what we do. And
do a lot of traveling.
Yeah.
Bob does a lot of yard work, garden work. I read.
And we stay busy. Yeah. And we enjoy it.
Okay.
We last year
We didn't do as much as past year.
We had a tour up to Amish country, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and
Niagara Falls.
did all kind of places up there, and Niagara Falls, a week up in there, and that's interesting. And 2 years ago we flew into Seattle on a tour, got on a tour bus and came back all the way to Charlotte, stopping all along 14 days. And that was a super thing too. We've been a lot of places. We've been to Alaska, Hawaii 3 times, all the islands a couple times each while I was there. Each time we went, we stayed 2 weeks, and that way you could hop from one to the other and see different things, you know. And that's what we really enjoyed doing. And we flew into Seattle one time just 4 or 5 years ago and went down the coast, right along the coast, all the way to San Francisco. And then Oregon, there's sand dunes 32 miles long. And we didn't know they had sand dunes anywhere in the world that much. But they had 2 school bus frames outfitted as dune buggies. And take you all out in there to the ocean, over those dunes and everything. And that was a trip, you know. And
When you're something like that, don't ever get in the front seat.
that wheel throws dirt all over you.
My husband wanted to be in the front where he could see everything.
I want to get about middle ways this time, next time.
I'm not going with you again.
That was enough for one trip. But anyway, that was a good trip, and just a lot of things up and down the coast, you know. The birthday?
I'm gonna turn 80 in 2 weeks. And I understand they're having a birthday party for me, but I haven't been invited yet. So I can't tell you anything about it. I don't know anything about it. Except I'm getting old.
How do you feel about that, Pop?
I feel great. I like to have birthdays. If you don't, you got problems. Yeah. And we got another good big day this year, July the 28th, anniversary. 57 years. That'd be a milestone, really, you know. Yeah.
All right.
Happy birthday, Grandmama. We're thinking about you, and I hope you have many more.